What is good, people? Welcome back to another video on 8 count. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you my problems with the second beta for Undisputed, which we were able to play last weekend. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, leave a comment down below. Let me know some of your problems, or if you disagree with me on anything, let me know about it in the comment section down below as well. And let's get straight into it, guys. In this gameplay, in the background, I am using Alexander Usyk, just for your information. I feel like this was a pretty decent fight, which I had during the beta, but let's get into it. Overall, I feel like the improvements made from the first beta to this were really significant, especially when it comes to the servers. The servers were a lot of the problem, which was kind of the main reason for the beta in the first place. The first beta, finding matches was an issue, staying in matches was an issue. In this beta, that really didn't seem to be able to seem to be a problem. They were even able to open up the beta to basically anyone who wants to get their hands on it as well, and the servers seem to hold up pretty fine. I'm sure some people had a problem, but personally, I had zero problems. So overall, I was really happy with that, guys. I feel like the damage sort of differences we had in this beta compared to the first one really changed the game as well, in terms of the sort of fights that we are having. Personally, it's kind of hard to record some gameplay because I like to record gameplay individually, and it's kind of hard to get some decent sort of length videos because I was able to get so many knockouts, which was super fun as well. But on the channel already, I have, which I believe to be one of the fastest knockouts I've ever seen in Undisputed, a 9-second knockout with Deontay Wilder. Be sure to go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. But like I'm saying, the damage sort of implementations in this beta were really significant, and it was fun to have different sort of fights, and I was overall really happy with that. Some of the issues which came with that, though, were these sort of glitches. I feel like there was a surrender glitch in the game where your opponent sometimes would just randomly surrender in between rounds. I'm not sure if it could have been quite a few things. It could have been, the opponent quitting out of the game and it coming that way. I'm not sure if there's a sort of system where if your opponent doesn't fire back in a certain amount of shots, the referee stops it. I'm not sure if that's something which maybe could have happened. That's definitely one of the possibilities for sure. But there was some sort of issue with the surrender, I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I feel like that was the case. Another issue was the sort of knockdown glitches. We had the ghost punches, which were a real problem at times. Also a real funny one. I felt like at times the ghost punches was actually a rebound of damage. It'd be like you'd put damage on your opponent and all of a sudden it'd come back to you and you'd be stunned. So I'm not sure if that was the case or it was just something completely random. Another problem with the knockdowns was there was some sort of glitch where you kind of just be knocked down for no reason. There would be no stun state or anything like that. You just be knocked down. That was a problem which I ran into a couple of times, but nothing too major. So in my opinion, the sort of differences they made with the damage system and the knockdowns overall really good. It's a couple small issues, but they can easily fix that. So I'm excited to see what they do moving forward with that. One of the biggest problems, in my opinion, is the movement. I love the movement. I love the idea of the movement, being able to create these angles, being able to throw these directional punches. But one of my biggest issues with the movement is the sluggishness feel of the movement. I spoke about in the last beta how it can be kind of hard to manipulate your fighter, and that's because there are different sort of steps in the game. You can take smaller steps by not pushing your analog stick all the way, but it's a fine margin between not moving at all and doing these mini steps. But that's something I came to learn, and it's definitely something you have to learn over the course of playing the game. But my main problem is the sort of feeling of and the responsiveness of the movement. Sometimes I feel like you move and then it's like a split sort of second before you actually do the animation in game, and that's something which really becomes an issue, especially if you want to be a counter fighter and sort of control the fight with distance and kind of be just on the edge of your opponent's range and then be able to dip out and then come back in. So that was some of the problems I have. I feel like also as well, sometimes with the movement, while your opponent is creating the angles, you can be fully aware of it, but it's kind of hard to follow them in game. I don't know if that's something I just need to learn, and it's something you can do within the control scheme, which is already there, and I'm just not aware of it. But that's something that, definitely needs some work, in my opinion. Another problem with the movement was the responsiveness when you're on the inside. In terms of the inside fighting, sometimes it feel like someone would put a resistance band over the back of you and your opponent, and you'd be kind of stuck together. It'd be really hard to break away, and that's something which I'm sure they can work on. And it's a tough one, right? Because certainly you want those inside fights to feel a bit more connected than the outside fights, where the angles are really being created quite smoothly. I do feel like there are going to be angles created in the inside fighting, but you kind of want to have that toe-to-toe battle a little bit, so it's a tough one to get right. But right now it doesn't feel like it's in the right place. Certainly feels like something that they will probably, they're aware of, and they'll get done pretty soon. One of my biggest problems is with some of the punches. Overall, I would like to say that I love the jab, I love the snap jab as well, using the power modifier. The straight hand, I feel like, just needs a little bit of hit detection. Sometimes it seems like it's a bit off, where I feel like it should be, considering it's one of the straight punches, it should be one of the more accurate ones, compared to your uppercuts and hooks. In terms of the hooks, I feel like the lead hook is pretty crisp, especially when you're using the sort of correct fighter. Your ability to do the stepping in lead hook is really nice. I'd like to see them do that as well with the uppercut. It doesn't feel like you can kind of do that now. You can do like that sort of stepping in lead hook, but you can't do a stepping in uppercut. So that's something I'd like to see implemented into the game. Some of the punches I do have a problem with are the uppercuts themselves and the rear hook. So in terms of the uppercuts, I feel like they're just all off. In terms of the actual using the controller to get the uppercuts out, I'm personally a fan of using the XA or the YB on my Xbox controller to get out the uppercuts. I feel like if you actually want to be better with the uppercuts, you have to use the right stick. I don't feel like they are implemented very well into the game in terms of when I press X and A together, I'm not guaranteed to get an uppercut to come out. I tested this because I'm like, am I just doing it wrong in the game? Am I not pressing it, in time smooth enough? Is it me? So I went on to EA Sports UFC the other day just to test it out, and they use the same sort of face button system for the uppercuts, and I had no problems whatsoever on that game. So I do feel like it is one with Undisputed where they're not registering the XA or the YB sort of uppercut face button system. The other problem I have with the uppercuts is the sort of, I guess, the velocity of them. They look kind of slow. I feel like an uppercut is one of those weapons which is fast, and it's explosive. It's a scary sort of punch to throw and to see land on someone. And I don't get that sort of feeling with this game. It feels kind of slow, and it's like, it just doesn't seem like that impactful of a punch. So I'd like to see something change with that. And I do believe it's that the animation for it looks okay. I just think it's the velocity and the speed at which it is thrown. So that's something I'd like to see changed as well. In terms of the rear hooks, I feel like the range at throwing the rear hooks is kind of a problem, because especially the lead hook seems to be really nice and you're able to land it at multiple ranges and distances. I just don't find that with the rear hook. I feel like, in terms of punches, which should probably be some of the more inaccurate ones, the rear hook, I'm fine with that being the case, but it's just very hard to land at times. So that's something I'd like to see change. In terms of the punches as well, I wanted to talk about when you've got your opponent stunned and they're running back. First of all, of course, they are way too quick. We know this to be the case, that, even if you cut off the ring, they're way too quick. And also when they are moving back, it's hard to land shots. You can get away with a 1-2, but the hooks and uppercuts is super hard to land while your opponent's running away. It was hard to corner them. I'd just like to see that toned down, find it a little bit easier to throw shots on them. Like while they're rolling out to their left, I should be able to land a right hook on them. That's something I'd like to see. I do feel like that's a problem they've got at this moment in time. Another problem, in my opinion, is the control scheme. I'd like to see this changed personally. I understand the control scheme, and it's pretty simple. It's just something I dislike. I hate using LB for body shots. Every combat sports game I've ever played has been LT to go to the body. So it's just something which is unfamiliar to me. I'm sure I could get used to it over time, but it's something I'd like to see. Like in different video games, whether it be a sports game like FIFA or a shooter game like Call of Duty, you're gonna have different button layouts for different things. Personally, I'd love to be able to change it myself already. Just LT to go to the body. LB if you want to weave in. I personally don't think you should have to press LT to sort of weave. I only feel like it's there because they want the when you're blocking and you're stationary, you're able to like control the block. So one hand will go up, one hand will go down. But personally, I'd like to see just the body shots to LT. That's one of my biggest problems. It's something which sounds so petty, but it is an issue for me because I'm so used to throwing them to with LT. Another problem, and one of my biggest problems, to be fair, is you're going into a game, and this could just be a problem which is in the beta because they haven't had time to implement it into the beta, but personally, I want to know what the ping is going into the game, so I'm not, going to experience a shocking sort of feeling with the lag and the frame rate being bad. Personally, I dislike not being able to see it. I hope it's something that they implement in the future games. I'd also like to have an option to see my ping up in the corner while I'm playing and stuff like that. FIFA's done a good job implementing that into their game recently. So that's something I'd like to see. Another problem I have, which I feel like is one, which is optimization. In terms of the graphics I run, you can kind of actually see in terms of the crowd right now, there is no crowd. I thought if I put the crowd down, maybe we'd be able to get a better FPS sort of, well, not first person shit, so a better frames, frames per second. And it just never seemed to be the case. Often, around 40 to 50, never really got higher than that. And I just feel like that's how the game is optimized right now. I do feel like that's something that they probably will fix. And it's not something which needs to be done straight away. It's just something that needs to be done over time. I basically changed everything. It didn't matter what graphic setting I was on. My frame rate seemed to stay the same throughout. But overall, guys, although this video is titled My Problem with Undisputed, I'm really happy. I'm really excited for this game to come out. I believe that it's everything I want right now in a video game. I've tried going back to EA Sports UFC, and I just can't. I hate it. I just hate it compared to this. I just want to play this game, and I can't. That's the problem with these betas coming out. I don't know what you guys think about the release date, when you believe it's going to come out. I think it was Study said he believes it's going to be mid to late January. I think that's a believable one. I think Coach's Corner was pretty optimistic throughout this year. I think he believed it was going to be a December sort of release date for the early access. That's looking very unlikely now. In my opinion, I just think Q1, anytime between January and March, I think it's probably more likely to be a bit sooner. Just seeing the sort of improvements that this company is able to make over short periods of time, moving from the first beta to the second beta, it gives you great, it gives you a sort of belief in the company. Personally, I think you look at games like EA Sports UFC and the sort of what are they on now? EA Sports UFC 4. It'll be EA Sports UFC 5 next year, and the sort of differences in the game that they've made over so much time, it seems so minor compared to this game, and I'm happy that, you know, it's going to be still City Interactive who are going to be dropping this game, and it's not going to be an EA Sports Fight Night game, because you just know the laziness which would go into it. I'm happy with the direction this game is going. Personally, cannot wait to get my hands on the early access and potentially the full game one day. You know, whenever that full game releases, I have a feeling that the game may release late next year. You know, maybe that sort of November time frame, or maybe early 2024. That's my belief anyway, guys. Moving into the last round now of this fight. Like I was saying, I was using Alexander Usyk, and he was one of the fighters who I really didn't have too much success with. Wilder was my guy at heavyweight. I was able to use the footwork the way I liked it, keep my opponents on the outside, and you know, the problem was I kept getting the Usyk versus Wilder matchup, which just was not ideal at all. It was very hard to use that footwork to get on the inside. You had to keep kind of going, you know, on the offside angle, and it was kind of difficult to do. I had one fight where I was really impressed with my performance. I was able to kind of just dance around my opponent using Usyk against Deontay Wilder, coming forward, creating his angles, and it was a great performance. But yeah, this is actually a sign of, you know, it's kind of hard to land those shots as your opponent's backing up here. Oh, but that was a lovely right hook there, just over the top of the guard, and we knocked down our opponent with Rocky Marciano. And then this fight in particular, we were kind of down early on in the fight. I believe we were down 2 or 3 rounds to 1. So it was a comeback sort of performance, and I mean, this is just getting me wanting to play the game again. Yeah, there's certain things which I dislike about the game, but overall, guys, super happy with the way it's turning out. Let me know in the comment section down below as we get to the end of this round right now. Certain things that you're happy with if you played the game or watched the game, and you know, certain things that you're unhappy with. What sort of things would you like to see? I think it was great we got the tutorial mode in this sort of one, but what I would have loved to see was just me being able to play against a heavy bag. Let me just practice combinations and shit on there. That would have been fun. As I get rocked, I didn't actually see what I got rocked with, but hopefully we survive here. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. I want to do more content on Undisputed, as well as my sort of picks and reactions to what happens in real life sort of combat sports. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace out.